And this is take two. Take two. So, hello and welcome to my house. I am dropping the video in early to the group. As you could tell, the stretch and breath work that I decided to add because it's a rainy day, and I know that for me, rainy days are like the kind of day you just want to hang out in your house, and you know, it's kind of a nice day, like especially a Thursday, to like not beat yourself up too much in terms of like a workout. You know, those are Mondays, Wednesdays, Tuesdays, but so these guys are gonna act up. Guys, sit down. They're gonna act up because I'm on live. Tootsie, Gingy, here. Sit down, Gingy, sit, or everybody's going out. So if they misbehave, I'm gonna kick them out of here. But anyway, instead of dropping this at 6 o'clock like I had originally planned, I just decided to do it now, so that you guys can take it whenever you want. And if you do take it, just drop me like drop me some kind of comment, let me know what you think. It's gonna be a super, super good feeling workout. If you have blocks, great at home. I think most of you do. If you have a wheel, great. Okay. Hey. Enough. Here, come on. Bad behaviors equal lost privileges. Stay. Stay. Nope. Stay. Sorry. Now they are not allowed in because they're acting like a bunch of children. Yes, I said it. So, anyway, hopefully this will feel really good for you. Again, drop me comments. Let me know if you decide to take it and how it works out for you. All right. So, a little less traditional than our normal practice. To get started, maybe just shaking out your wrists, rolling out your shoulders. One direction then the other. We're sort of like opening up the arms and closing them. So I've designed this to stretch out most of the major muscles. Okay, most of the major muscles are getting a stretch here. The muscles are, and also warm up the joints, the muscles around the joints. So the wrists, the shoulders, the hips, calves, ankles, everything's gonna get some love today. All right, and we're gonna start with, now let me just say that use whatever props you have available to you that you need. None of the postures require that you use a prop, but they can be very helpful. Also, we're going to be holding them for different lengths of time, each posture, and I'll tell you how many. If it gets uncomfortable for you, you can either back out of the pose and go into an easier version, but definitely try to use your breath. If it's just uncomfortable, then just use your breath to try to move through the posture, okay? So I say that because, you know, you'll learn the difference between what's, discomfort, intolerable discomfort, and what's tolerable discomfort. Like let's see who's here. Oh, hey. Okay, so you'll learn the difference between what's tolerable, what's not. What you can breathe through and what you just need to go inside and deal with, and what is something that you need to get out of. So hold on one second, because Tootsie is misbehaving. This is a no, Tootsie. Mommy said no. Okay, you know better than that. You guys can go outside. So my dogs, they have everything that they could possibly need and want right now, except me, and that's why they're misbehaving, because they don't like that I'm not letting them in this room. But that's what happens when they're just. So our feet, we're gonna open up our feet. So you're gonna take your feet together. First, I'll actually do this from the back. So you're gonna take your feet together, heels together, lower down, drop your knees, And now my heels are staying together. I have my toes spread out. You can move your heels out and in a few times just to kind of feel out the sensation. Just opening the feet up a little bit dynamically. But then we're going to come to a place of stillness where the heels are moving towards each other, the feet are straight up and down, and your toes are spread nice and open. And now I have my hands down, and I'm going to keep them down. But if you wanted to lift your hands up and sit up higher, it's a little more intense. That's how you can graduate this posture. But I'm just going to stay here. We have about 20 seconds left. I don't spend a really long time on the feet because you get results pretty soon from doing this. So we'll just hold this for about 9 more seconds. Inhaling and exhaling through your nose. And then we'll come out and just tap your feet out, right? It just taps the top of your feet. And then we'll do the front of the feet, so the soles of the feet. So with this, I like to use a bolster. You could use a pillow. You could use anything where you could put the tops of your feet, position the tops of your feet, moving the ankles out and in again, just like we've been doing, right? Kind of feel the feet out. And then when you're ready, with the feet equal, you're just going to slowly make your way up. And you'll feel some pressure on the fronts of the tops of the feet. So the top of the feet towards the front. The more away from the bolster I go, the more intense it's going to be. So I'm going to stay right here because I can feel it. My left side is really way more open than my right side. It's not bad, it's just the way it is. So I try to find an equal place where I'm getting a stretch in my right, but I also am not too deep to accommodate my left, right? So I want to find a balance between opening up my right foot and not overstretching, or I don't want to say overstretching, but increasing mobility in my left ankle where I don't really need to increase the mobility. I need a little more stability. So it's another area that you can kind of play with in your practice. As time goes on, you'll figure out where you need a little more strength, where you need a little bit more mobility, openness. And coming out, tapping out the feet again. And this time, maybe turn around, extend one leg out and rotate the ankle, and then another one, and the other one, right? So I just kind of open up the fronts of the thighs, rotate the ankles, get that sensation out. And the next one is Sphinx pose, and you don't need to have a bolster to do this. So I have one and I like to use it. If you have a cushion or a rolled up towel or blanket, you can use it. I like to use it to put underneath of my chest. So I'm going to come forward, lower down, and it's right underneath, it's right by my rib cage. My forearms are on the ground, my palms are down. I feel a stretch in the front of my body. I feel a stretch in a little bit in the front of my throat because of the way my head's positioned. What I don't feel a lot of is compression in the back, right? So if I didn't use the bolster, sometimes I feel compression in the back, which isn't bad, but it's just maybe not necessarily what I'm looking to get out of this. So you'll decide for yourself. If you're feeling too much compression, then you can even lower down and place one hand on top of the other and put your forehead down. And you're still stretching the front of the body, which is kind of what we're looking to achieve with this. We're going to be here for 1 more minute. So this one is a 2-minute hold. And I'm relaxing my hands and my wrists, seeking that equanimity between the right and the left side. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Like some days it's just challenging to get moving, and particularly in the shorter days of the year, particularly on rainy days, rainy weather days. It can be really challenging for a lot of people to get moving. Tootsie, you're not coming in, go outside. So even a little bit of this, even just holding a few postures, 2-1 minute, is kind of a nice way to move your energy around in like a gentle, subtle way, as opposed to, you know, some of the stuff that we do on more active days. Some people call it active recovery, lifting up or coming out of that one. So maybe just take a few cat and cows here. So maybe just arching the spine, extending the spine. Let's take a few cat and cows just to recalibrate the entire spine. And for the next one, if you have something to rest your forehead on, again, it could be a towel, it could be a bolster, it could be anything. You don't need it, but it might be helpful on this one. We're going to do thread the needle with child's pose. Tootsie, no. Okay, so you're going to come into, actually, I'm sorry, forgive me. We're actually going to take a child's pose, a restorative child's pose. So what I like to do, widen the knees, bring the toes together. We'll do the thread the needle one momentarily. I also like to prop the bolster up. So right now I'm going to use my wheel. I'm going to prop the bolster up because I want to make this really comfortable and cozy, and I don't necessarily want to have this spillage at the front over. Toots, enough. Stop it, Tootsie. She's crazy. She's so determined. I've never seen a more persistent dog in my life. She is like, I'm going to get in and see you. But anyway, so we have 2 minutes. You're going to turn your head in one direction, then I'll have you turn your head in the other direction. Nope. So coming over onto your apparatus, let the right cheek rest on whatever it is that you have. Relaxing down into your child's pose. Lower back's relaxed. Arms are relaxed. Just breathing here. This is great to open up the lower back. So if Sphinx compresses the lower back, then this decompresses the lower back. And turning your head the opposite way. We have about 1 more minute here, so breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. Holding here to breathe for about 25 more seconds. And slowly coming out. Taking some cat and cows. Put your bolster back down. Rounding and extending your spine. The next one's going to be can be a pretty intense one. It's downward facing dog. So what I'd like for you is to take the posture, and if you need to come out of it, you can always lower your knees down can always lower your knees and then come back into it when you're ready, right? So I'm gonna hold it for about 2 minutes. And that can be a really long time for a lot of people. So feel free to come down to your knees if you have to do that. All right, so I'm also going to use my hands. I'm a bolster, so if you have blocks and you want to do that, sometimes that can help because you're not as hot, as low to the ground. It can take some of the weight off of your upper body. Okay, so we'll come into our down dog position, lifting the hips up, letting the ears rest relatively in between the biceps. So just take a moment to feel this posture out and get yourself feeling balanced, something that you can sustain for about 1.5 minutes more, right? So that's something that you will learn to determine, and you are learning as you do this, that sometimes you need to widen the feet, sometimes you need to shorten the distance of the dog, sometimes you need to come in and out of it. You know, it takes time to develop endurance in postures. So the last thing you want to do is mentally beat yourself up, because we're doing this to take care of ourselves. We're doing this to do something nice for ourselves. So we're feeling out what works, what doesn't, without judgment, just with observation. And it's like, how can I make this posture work for me today? Tendency sometimes for everyone is to sink into this. So we start to let the belly drop, we start to let the arms and the shoulders drop. And so really thinking about as if you have a balloon tied to your tailbone that's pulling you up can help keep the pose integritous throughout the time. That's what I like to imagine, is like a balloon attached to my tailbone or my sacrum, pulling everything up, because the more I engage the front body muscles with that imagery, the easier it can be to hold this posture. Whereas if I start to wilt, it's like I let the body just start to drop towards the earth. I'm not really engaging the front body muscles anymore. So I'm lifting up for 5 more seconds, inhaling and exhaling. And then finally we'll come back down. Trust me, I know that's a tough one. I know it's tough. So just shake out the wrist for a second. Find a comfortable seat. So for me, I'm just going to take a hero's pose with a cushion in between me, but you can sit with your legs in front of you if that feels better. We're going to get the wrist for a second. We're going to stretch the wrist by putting the front of the hands alongside the rib cage, elbows winging out, and we're just going to hold it here for about 1 minute. So finding a position where you feel the front of the wrists getting an opening, and just breathing into this, inhaling and exhaling through your nose. Rainy days are hard on everybody. The dogs are used to getting at least 2 walks, and obviously in the pouring rain, I'm not taking them for that. They're used to having a little more physical activity, being outside. So right now they're fidgety. Well, one of them is fidgety. The other one could just chill out for days and it's no big deal. So just breathing. And relaxing, maybe shaking the wrists out super gently. Opening and closing the hands to get some feeling back in. And the next one is equally challenging, if not a little bit more, than downward facing dog for 2 minutes. It's a forward fold. So what I tell people is, if you have a hard time staying in a forward fold for 2 minutes, what you could do is you could come out into down dog and then go back in. Or you can come out to down dog, drop your knees, and then come back and walk your hands back towards the front. So it might look something like this, right? Our forward fold. We're up tall. Our legs are nice and long with a slight bend in the knees. Bending the knees is super helpful too. So relaxing my head and staying down here could be really challenging, but if I get jammed up, I can always walk my hands out. I can lower my knees down. I can pause for a second and then I can come back up into down dog and walk my hands back if I want to. So I'm going to start the timer now. Finding your position in your forward fold. Super important, and what I notice a lot, mostly with clients, is they keep their head up, right? I get that, but we want to try to relax the head down. So letting the weight of the head start to elongate the spine. I interlace my fingers and let the backs of my hands rest on the floor so I can try to keep my shoulders out of it. And I keep my knees bent, my toes are nice and open and wide, placed down on the floor. Feet are relatively pointing forward, and the weight is moving towards equilibrium on both the right and the left side of the body. So I'm just gonna hold here, and I've been doing this for a while, so I could do 2 minutes. I breathe in through my nose and out through my nose. It does get challenging at times, particularly towards the end. So like I said, if this is one of your first times doing this, walk out into down dog, lower your knees, and take a little bit of a break, and then come back in when you feel ready. So even if you did 30 seconds twice this whole time, or even 10 seconds, 3 or 4 times, you're still working up the endurance to hold the posture for a little bit longer each time. And just be proud of any type of progress that you make, any baseline that you get from here, any observation. There's no judgment, because I didn't get like this overnight. Nobody that can hold this for 2 minutes got here overnight. It took time, it took discipline, it took commitment, and it's just a forward fold. So if at the end of the day you don't stay here for 2 minutes, it's not the end of the world. It's just a forward fold. And then bending the knees, coming out of it, extending one leg and then the other. Tootsie, hey, Toots, stop it. And I didn't mean it's not the end of the world in terms of like trivializing your angst. I'm just trying to put it into perspective that we don't have to be so serious and judge ourselves so harshly on yoga poses, there's no competition, there's no Olympics for it, so it's all good. Okay, so just shake, continue to extend your legs out if you need to. We're gonna find ourselves in a cross-legged seated position, so I'm gonna grab my bolster. Tootsie, hey, knock it off. So I'm going to come into a cross-legged seat. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. So sitting up nice and tall, find a comfortable cross-legged seat. We'll open up the side body, 1.5 minutes each side. So the first side, we're going to place our left hand down, right hand in the back of the head, and leaning over to the left. So, hi girlfriend. You can stay here, or you could extend the arm out and then let the elbow bend, which is a deeper stretch. All right, so you decide what stretch is working for you today. Hey, Tootsie. It's okay, princess. You're a good girl. Yes, you're a good girl. You're a good girl. Mama loves you. Mommy loves you. I do, but you would come in here and you wouldn't let me practice. You would sit on my lap. So inhaling and exhaling through your nose, breathing here. You have about 30 seconds. Side body stretching is sneaky, challenging. It's not as obvious as like downward dog and forward fold, holding it. But I find most clients in the side body stretching, after a minute, they start to get a little antsy, and it's like, ooh, it's a little bit more than they're expecting. Just breathe into it. We got about 15 more seconds. In through your nose and out through your nose. You got this. And we can come up and switch sides. So the right hand's gonna come down, left arm's gonna come up, left hand behind the head. I'm gonna keep my left hand behind my head here. You can extend the arm up and bend the elbow if you want. but I'm gonna stay positioned like this. About 30 more seconds here. Inhaling and exhaling. Hands coming back up. Extend the legs out, shake it out. We're gonna come into a wide-legged seat. So you can stay propped up like this on the bolster. And if you do that, then just make sure you maybe roll up a blanket and put it under each of the knees, or a towel, so that your knees are not hyperextended when you extend them out. If my hips are up high and my legs are out, it's very easy for me to be aggressive on the knee joint in the opposite direction. So I will always roll something else up, like a little bolster, slide something under here so that my knees can retain a slight bend. Otherwise, you're gonna extend your legs out, taking whatever props you might need for our side forward folds. So essentially sitting up, flex the feet, feel the back of the legs get nice and long, and then relax the legs where they may after that. We're going to sit up nice and tall and twist our torso over to the left so that I'm over towards the left leg. I take my bolster and I place it out like this. Sometimes I need a little added lift. We'll see if I need that today. We're gonna hold each side for 2 minutes. So I'm gonna come over this left leg, and yes, I'm gonna need something for my head today. So I'm gonna use my little roller, interlace my hands on top of it, and rest my third eye on top of the roller. And I do this because it doesn't feel comfortable for me to hang my body to rest, to try to reach the bolster. It's not enough. I'd rather bring the bolster, the floor up to me, and eventually I'll get closer and closer to my leg, but I feel very, very good and comfortable about this progress today. So you find what works for you, and then inhaling and exhaling through your nose. And we have about 30 more seconds here. Just taking in any more extra few breaths. And we'll lift ourselves up, set up for the other side. Sitting up nice and tall, turning the torso over the right leg, and then slowly making your way down. And same thing, we'll spend about 2 minutes here. 30 more seconds. Actually, that's not sure. You got about 45 more seconds. So just breathing, melting into the pose. Maybe 25 seconds. Maybe letting the sound of the rain lull you into the pose. And we'll slowly make our way up. If you need to take a second to shake your legs out, hands behind you, you can do that. Rotate the ankle, maybe open the chest, arch the back, gaze upwards. Before we move into the center. So for the center, you may just be positioned upwards with your hands behind you. You may feel good enough to have your hands in front. You can also come down to your forearms. You decide what makes the most sense for you today. Not what makes the most sense for me. So some people, I love when they just sit up nice and tall and they have their hands behind them, because I know this is work for them. Okay? But then if you want to take it a step further or a step further, you can come down to your forearms. You can put your hands out in front of you. Anyway, we'll hold this for about 2 minutes as well. So I'm going to let my head relax over my folded hands one more time. Reconnecting to the sound of the rain. Last breath. Rolling yourself up. Coming into a 90-degree angle with, well, I call it 90-90, but right leg is internally rotated with the foot next to it. Left leg is out in front. Thinking about my shin being parallel to the front of the mat, but that's not necessary. So it could be a little bit further back, and that's okay. You'll find the place where you feel balanced on your sitting bones, and just balanced in the posture. If having this leg turned in does not feel good for you, I want you to extend it out straight ahead. Okay, so this leg does not need to be bent. Okay, and so for some people, just sitting in this pose is enough, right? So they might decide, I'm just gonna sit up like this with my hands alongside of me, and that's all I want to do today. Other people may feel like they could recline back. So I'm propping my bolster up on the wheel. Positioning myself so that I can lean back And now I'm feeling a stretch in my quad. I'm feeling a stretch right on the right side of my leg. And I also feel an opening here in my sternum, relaxing my hands down. And I'm just gonna breathe here and let my quad open up. Let my piriformis open up. Even the front of my foot is opening up here, what we stretched earlier today, because I don't have as much flexibility, like I said, in my right ankle. So I even feel the front of my foot being stretched here, which I like. We have about 30 seconds here. And we'll slowly make our way up, pulling everything in front. So, I'm gonna lay my wheel down, my bolster's going on top. We're gonna do a forward fold here for the same amount of time, 2 minutes. So, again, you can extend this leg out if the knee is bothering you, please do so. You might just come forward a little bit with your hands down, your arms straight, spine nice and long. You may come down to your forearms. You may not feel as comfortable lying over the bolster and turning your head towards the right. So you decide what makes sense for you today. And relaxing the cheek onto the bolster, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. We'll hold here for about 2 minutes. We have about 1 more minute. Slowly making your way out. We'll switch sides. Right leg is going to come in front. Left leg is going to rotate out and back. And again, you can just extend the left leg out if turning it internally, rotating it like this, is bothersome. Oh, and the first thing we'll do is lean back. Maybe you'll be feeling a stretch in the front of the thigh, the front of the hip. Now my other dog is looking at me. She's got sad eyes. She's like, why are we not allowed in here? Are we bothering you, Mom? They're so sweet. They're probably hungry too. It's around their dinner time. So just relax, breathe into this. I'll feed them when I'm done. Slowly make our way up. Take your time. Bringing everything to the front. This can be tricky too, by the way. I know I might make it look easy, but if you have to come out of the pose to do this, it's totally fine. So take your time. Switching everything around. Again, maybe you just stay lifted up. Nice long spine, crown of the head lifting to the sky. Maybe you stay here. Or maybe you want to walk your hands forward, maybe stay here. Or maybe you feel confident about your ability to recline, to rest your upper body down, right cheek to the cushion. About 30 more seconds here. And slowly making your way up. Extend the legs out. Shaking out the legs. Coming to a comfortable seat. We're going to do our breath work right now. And we're going to do it sitting up, and then we're eventually going to recline back down. So if you have a bolster that you're not sitting on and not using, you can put it across your legs like this. Anything that you might be able to rest your elbow on. We're going to do alternate nostril breathing. So we're going to start our breath work. And if at any point you don't feel comfortable and it doesn't feel good to you, you could release the breathing technique and just sit up nice and tall and breathe normally, okay? So it's not for everybody, although I find this one to be relatively benign, whereas there are some breathing techniques that cause me physiologically to experience some things that I don't really like, because some are meant to kind of get your energy up and stimulate you. I like the ones that are a little more grounding, a little more balanced. They work better for me. There are some that just don't work for me. So nonetheless, though, sitting up nice and tall, I'm resting my elbow on the apparatus in front of me. We have our ring finger and our pinky finger together and our thumb apart. And then we have our pointy finger and middle finger are gonna rest about on our third eye, okay? So my ring finger and pinky finger are gonna rest on top of my left nostril. The right thumb is gonna rest on my right nostril. And we're gonna take 3 cleansing breaths, inhaling through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhaling. Exhale. And then one more time. Letting it go. And then just letting your breath settle. Next time you inhale, close the right nostril with the right thumb. Inhale. Close the left nostril, open the right. Exhale. Inhale through the right. Close, open the left. Exhale. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Continue on your own. Take 3 more rounds on your own. When you end, make sure you end on an exhale on the left side. When you finish, you can relax your arms and just let your breathing come back to normal. We'll make our way onto our backs into a restorative bridge posture. So come to lie down on your backs. We're going to slide the bolster underneath our hips or block or whatever it is you're using, making sure it's under your hips, not under your lower back. To the height that makes the most sense to you. Letting the hips relax down. Feet are flat on the floor, and your arms can relax down at the side. If you'd like an additional stretch here, you can raise your arms overhead. I'm going to stay right here today. One more inhale and exhale. Lifting the hips up and sliding the bolster out. Letting the hips relax down for a second before windshield wiping the legs. Pulling the knees into the chest, rocking from side to side. And resting there for a moment in a reclined child's pose, hands behind the thighs or the shins. set up for final relaxation. Setting up however you desire today, whatever's comfortable. If you have a blanket at home and you want to use one, you can. We'll inhale and exhale. Everything relax. Slowly bringing your awareness back to the sound of your breath. Expanding the awareness to the rest of your body. Making small movements with your fingers and toes. Rotating your wrists and your ankles. Stretching the arms and legs. Bring the palms together in front of the heart. We'll close our practice, exhaling, inhaling. Divine light in me bows to the divine light in you. Namaste. Thank you guys, whoever joins in and does this. And love you guys a lot. We'll be in touch. Enjoy the rest of your day.